Morning, brother, and welcome to another daily devotional this morning. And we're still in 1 Corinthians 13, thinking about some of the characteristics of love. And this morning, we're thinking about what Paul says when he says, love does not seek its own. Another translation of that is, love doesn't insist on its own way. I wonder, do you know what an oxymoron is? Well, an oxymoron is a contradictory statement where you have two things beside each other that appear to contradict one another. Let me give you some examples. We talk sometimes about a deafening silence. Well, that's an oxymoron. Or that comedian was seriously funny. Well, again, that's an oxymoron, seriously funny. Or here are original copies. That's an oxymoron. Or you might say of some particular animal, boy, that's pretty ugly. Again, an oxymoron. Well, let me give you another oxymoron. Selfish love. Selfish love. Love cannot be selfish. Love does not insist on its own way. Selfishness lies at the heart of 1,000 evils in our land. It causes all sorts of problems in relationships, in work environments. It causes all sorts of problems within family circles and within marriage. People insisting that they get what they want. And sadly, it causes all sorts of problems in churches. Corinth was rife with selfishness. People thinking only of themselves and wanting to get their own way. How often we have seen that rip the heart out of a church. Sometimes over very important matters, sometimes over things that are completely trivial. One of the most important things that any church has to do is to select a minister. And many of us have been in situations where the congregation we're in has to decide who to call because our own minister has left us, or he's retired, or God has called him home. And in those situations, sadly, selfishness can rise to the fore. People insisting on their way. It's either my way or no way. And they push to try and get their man. And if they don't, they either make things difficult or they leave and go somewhere else. Brethren, love does not insist on its own way. It does not seek its own. Yes, there's nothing wrong with endeavouring to try and get your way, but we should not insist on it. Going from the serious to the trivial. I remember years ago reading about a church in America, an independent church, and there were people who split the church in two over the placing of a hat rack in the hallway in the way into the church. There were those that didn't want it up. There were those that did. And such was the fierceness of the disagreement, and such was the insistingness, if that's even a word, of one of the groups that this should go up, that it caused such bad feeling that the church split in two, and an alternative church was established in the same small town by the group that left. Insisting on one's own way. Selfish love. It's no such thing. It's an oxymoron. Elizabeth Elliot was once speaking on the subject of selfless love to an audience that included young children. They were sitting right at the front, and she was wondering how she could make something plain to them so that they would be able to apply it later. And she was speaking about the subject of selfless love. A few months later, she got a letter from one of the little children. A little boy who wrote, "I'm learning to be selfless towards my little sister. She has to take a nap in the afternoon. I don't have to take a nap, and I don't like taking a nap. But she can't go to sleep unless I come and lie down beside her. So I lie down with my little sister because I know it will help her to sleep. There was a little boy who was selfless in his love for his little sister. Brethren, I wonder, are we willing to be selfless in our love towards others? Jesus was selfless in his love for us. God the Father was selfless in giving his Son for you and me. May God impress these thoughts upon our hearts. Have a good day, folks.